the work by Zachariah Zaina. And the works that he has created is called the Singapore Gurkha Photography Museum. Zachariah is a commercial photographer. He's also a trained photojournalist. He has a very interesting interest in the Gurkha community. For those who may not know, since 1949, the Gurkhas are actually a very special law enforcement to Singapore. And that was a time of turbulence between 1950s and 1960s. So, and Zachariah says this photograph scan and archive from one retired Gurkhas to another reveal how important it was for these migrant sons to document their time here in Singapore. That's also another reason why he said to document their time here in Singapore is also because the Gurkhas has a limited sort of employment in Singapore. So along with their family, they would actually enjoy a visa stay out to 20 years before they have been departed back to their countries. So, and in this series of work, which he called the Singapore Gurkha Photography Museum, he started with an interview with one of the retired Gurkha. And often the Gurkha has been photographed as a cold, lawyer, strong, with this khaki white broad brim, head, and often photographed as singular individual. So, diving into the archive of each of this family, it discovered a lost story, a narrative, which he has been collecting for the last 5 years. And in 2012, he formed this online website which publicly shared the photograph of this community living in Singapore. So I just want to show you this. So in the presentation here, the archive formed as not just freshing of nostalgia images, but it helped to reclaim and putting a face to a history in Singapore. So the presentation of the work comes in simply because it's a desire of the photographer to present photographs as prints. And each of the works are put out in a small album with captions and descriptions. So this is just to have a closer of what shows here. Oops. So, and continue on, I would like to share about, again, how we have seen the rigorous, attentions as well, the attentions to collecting the memories and archiving the photograph of the Gurkha community in Singapore. And here we are looking at Kevin W.Y. Lee's work, a Singapore photographer, Asia, a very well-known online platform. And in this particular work, I'm looking at how Zachariah is looking at how photography photograph materials that are being scanned and put onto online and that being shared as a way to create this awareness. And on the other hand, Kevin's work is practically, again, using the online platform to canvas for participation from the public. And in this project, it's called Singapore Public Notice, or rather Singapore on Public Notice. So here's a very short video clips. Okay, so Kevin started this project on the social platform Instagram 5 years ago. And it was like about 3 years ago, he started inviting public to contribute and hashtag Singapore Public Notice or Public Notice SG. So in the presentation of the exhibition here, okay, so we are looking at a crowdsourcing component here, right? So, and what is truly interesting is because when it comes to Singaporean photography works, we are being often accused of depoliticize the works presented of what exactly is the reality or the oppression, quote unquote oppression or the control, or rather, in this case, the public notice become like a hidden message that been collected over years, and this is still ongoing. Of course, some of it may not necessarily pertaining to the state or commentary by the people, but again, certain insight sort of shine through the photograph, and in a very discreet way, I have to say. So just like how public notice pelts, it just stuck at the door of the toilets or down the hallway or even at a funeral parlor. So yes, so the presentations really goes like a public notice with the strips of papers which Kevin invites people to actually tear notes and participate in this acts of connecting and expressing what you notice about Singapore. It is also, in a way, very deliberately chosen to use raw plywood as a background to the photograph, cheaply produced, just as though it's like a lost and found missing person notice that one would come across in Singapore public space. And with it is a video moving stills of the submissions made by the various contributors. So, and when we look at that, about social media, and we are moving on to another social media here, and how images are often contribute and shared in a way unseemingly to people we do not know. And Tom Stader from UK created this work called Selfie. So truly, Selfie examining how image sharing internet had changed the role of photography in the digital age, as well how is it being disseminated and how is it created. And in this particular project, Tom Stader actually worked with a bespoken computer program company in creating a program that sort of like tap on images that is being published, public images, and printed out one image every 12 seconds on a thermal printer. So this is how this happened, and just keep printing, and it's enormous printing amount of work. So this is the exhibits happens within at the public space, and the printings goes on non-stop for 6 weeks. Sorry, I just want to show you that's the artist here in conversation about his work. And looking into moving from the social platforms and into something tangible on collecting of images. Anggi Pubandono, Indonesian artist, perhaps one of the first generation of contemporary photographer that did incredible amount of experiments with photography. He has been collecting anonymous photographs since 2001. And in this enormous amount of images, which often he said, I have no idea who exactly these people are, but I'm just so fascinated and drawn to the fact that they have a similar story like mine. So in this exhibition, which didn't take place here, I actually chose another body of work here, but I just want to share that using found images or anonymous image is one of his usual practice in the way that he draws resources for his creation of work. So 8 years ago, he had a residency program at Fukuoka Asia Art Museum, and in one of and at the end of a 3 months residency, he came back with 2 baggage of old photographs given to him by old photo studios. And while in the creation, he talked about what exactly is the connections of photographs that he has, the photographs that Peltz taken and happened decades ago as compared to now. And using scanners, he created these juxtapositions of old photograph and food packaging. So there's a deliberate use of dates and information, as you could see, as this is like year 2005 or 2015, yeah. So as compared to Peltz, this is taken 1940s, and most of the photographs are roughly taken at the time of World War II, because of it's very common at the period of time for soldiers to have their portraits taken before they're off to the war. So, and similarly to Angki from Indonesia, I want to raise the work by Thomas Savin. Perhaps a lot of people know him by his work called the Silver Mine, or Beijing Silver Mine. And here, what is interesting is the process that leads to this interesting collaboration with Lei, a Chinese animator. So the title of the work is called Hand Colored, and basically they collected a number of black and white photographs from Chinese flea markets, and imagine they all belong to one fictional person. Again, we are talking about just sort of finding a connection back to archive image here. So, and they spent 2 years, collaging, photographing, hand color, scan, and print. At later part, I'll show you the details. So, spending 2 years of repeating this process, they have created this 1,168 hand-colored photographs. That's sort of a durational I would rather say it's quite a durational piece of performance in a way through the animation. Okay, so yeah. So what happened is here in this particular photograph. So on the right, on the left, on the left is the original photograph, and it has been painted. So after it's painted, it's scanned, print. The printed copy has been painted and scanned, and print and scan till it become almost anonymous, become almost like abstract colors, as you could see on the right side. And this is the process repeatedly for 1,100 over images. So you start to see the process, how it's happened. So the presentations manifest in photographs of collage, as you could see right on the left wall. And the right wall, it shows the change with every painting, color, scan, and creating. And on the floor is 2 video clips. I'm going to share with you a short one here. Okay, so just bear with me with two more artist works that I'm going to share, and yes, also want to share is that for Thomas Savin, he has been working with ACM, which is Archive of Modern Conflicts, in producing books, and these are some of his artist books that he made for the AMC. Okay, so well, next, and when we think about the archive in terms of like photography, we inevitably very attached to the materiality of photography, or rather, when we think about photography, we think about the analog or the film, the Polaroids that we miss. And in this particular works, which is presented by Mr. Gerhard Steider of Steider Publishing, he put together an incredible, beautiful book called Proof. And Thomas Gutowski, a Polish photographer, perhaps very well known for his documentary works on athletes, traditional Shaolin athletes, and as well young gymnastic portraits of young gymnasts. Athletes. So in this particular exhibit, it's interesting to look at how while we are looking at the social media, the digital production of imagery, and there's this unbelievable desire to cling onto the analog, and in this case, Thomas actually loved the imperfections that is essential parts of photography. So these are part of the works that are on exhibits, and I'm just going to show you how it's been presented. Okay, in case for those who would like to know, is Polaroid Type 55, which produce instant positive prints in addition to negatives. So what are being presented is traditional Japanese folded publication, which shows the negative image on the surface, whereas on the positive image is being hidden in between the Japanese paper fold. So, and the exhibit goes in prints as well. Oops, did I miss out that image? I think, okay. So sorry, I think I missed out the image while I was transferring the file. So, but I just want to share that that exhibition again become like questions, regarding as photography medium. As you could see, it's almost like a cycle whereby people embracing the digitals and later on embracing the digital or imagery that is found online, and yet from that wanting to make a tangible form of the digital productions. So, and here we look at Miti Rankitya work from Thailand. Okay, just very short, brief understanding of Miti. Miti actually was sent to the boarding school in UK at a young age of like 6 years old, or 7, and 20 years later he returned back to Bangkok, and one thing he says that I remember meeting him for the first time. He says that I'm trying to understand the mentality of the people in response to the chaos that I'm seeing around me. And the following are the works that he created in that response and as well observations. So, and the title is called Thai Politics, and these are images that is collected from online platforms, as well captured across a span of time from 2010 onwards, as well major protests